In this video net interview at IBC 2011, I'm speaking with Emma Scott, Managing Director at Freesat. Hello, Emma.
Hi.
In terms of the UK, Freesat was fairly late to market behind pay TV and obviously Freeview, but you've just clocked up your 2 millionth customer. So what do you base that success upon?
We launched in May 2008, so as you say, we were quite late into the market, which has its own advantages as well. We also launched into recession, and I think that's been, a sort of theme of our success in some ways, because Freesat is incredibly popular with people because they want subscription-free television in the same way with Freeview. But I think there really has never been a real challenger to Sky in the satellite world. So I think we're absolutely offering fantastic subscription-free services, but we've also tried to innovate along the way. So we were the first with free HD. We've got BBC and ITV Player on the platform. And I think it's about, it's a very simple offer in the end. Subscription-free television, free HD, lots of channels, and no strings attached.
Sure, and the HD was a key differentiator, but Freeview increasingly, now that they're getting their spectrum sorted out, they're offering more HD. I mean, do you think, can you maintain that differentiator?
Well, I don't think HD is the only differentiator, and ultimately, we are a satellite provider and they're a terrestrial provider, and we're quite complementary in that sense. And we're very much looking at making sure that satellite homes in the UK have a subscription-free choice. So I think HD is important. A lot of people say it's the #1 reason why people say they want to take Freesat, along with subscription-free being equally important, actually. But I don't think it's even a competition. We don't take, large numbers of homes from Freeview. So we have a range of HD channels. We launched for, Channel 4 HD and NHK HD this year, and there will be more channels coming in the future. And ultimately, whilst terrestrial is releasing some capacity for HD, it's not got the boundless capacities that satellite does. So. Okay,
I mean, you just touched upon there where your customers are coming from. I mean, where are they coming from exactly?
Primarily, they're coming from Sky, so over 47% of our take-up in this year has been from Sky retail customers. And I think that's testament to the fact, 14 million homes in the UK have got a satellite dish on them. That's well over half. When you move house, you don't take the dish with you. And Freesat's a very plug-and-play solution, so if you've got a dish on the house, you can literally just plug a Freesat box in. And I think, over the 3 years we've been launched, us getting the message out that there is an alternative to Sky means that people are listening to that and moving over to Freesat because they recognise that actually, 80% of all viewing in the UK is to the free-to-air channels. And if that's what you want and you're not really into sport, like me, then, Freesat's a really sensible alternative. And we don't have a particular part of the country that people take Freesat. It's across the whole of the country. Our demographic split is absolutely representative of the UK. So we're, a sort of everyman product which people really love.
I mean, you mentioned ITV Player, and obviously the hybrid element is becoming much more important now. People wanting access through their linear service to some on-demand content, especially the popular channels for catch-up. I mean, what's the plan there? How far can you develop that?
Well, the current generation of product has BBC iPlayer and ITV Player on and has the capacity to put more players on if we wanted to. But it's fairly, the technology has moved on since we launched that box. And in the next generation of box, which will come out early in 2012, we'll be looking at doing further integration because the technology allows us to do that. I think the players in their own right are hugely popular. We list them in the EPG, and in the case of BBC iPlayer, you can get to it from the red button as well. And people are so used to using it on laptops or tablets or PCs now, the natural extension is to watch it on the sort of sit-back 10-foot experience. I know in my home, my children use the tablet for watching little bits of CBeebies, but I can tell you they actually ask to go and watch it. And they can get into it on Freesat, even though they're sort of age 5 and 6, because they really enjoy just sitting on the sofa doing it. And it's very different to them squabbling over, hunched over a tablet together. So I think they're very important, and I think sort of in the future as well, not even just looking at those IP services as sort of something you go into and stay in, but the idea of, rollback EPGs, for example, where you can get, you literally can catch up on a programme that's just been aired, or looking at lists, for example, of on-demand content from different operators to kind of give you a recommendation. I mean, these are sort of exciting ideas that operators are doing in other markets, and it's something that we're looking very hard at.
Yeah, I mean, the rollback EPG is hugely compelling. And I mean, is that a clue then to what we could expect next year with these next-gen set-top boxes that you've announced?
Well, you have to wait and see. We're not going to talk about it lots now. But, you know, I think you can look at the market and look at what's possible and look at what's also what viewers want. You know, when you sort of show these ideas to consumers, there is something of a eureka moment when it happens, when they sort of say, well, of course you should be able to go backwards as well as going forwards, because it makes absolute sense. And I think it's an interesting area. I think, you know, other areas like, you know, the new things that, say, HTML5 can allow you to do in terms of being able to have much sort of richer graphics and sort of, you know, how UIs have moved on in the years since we launched Freesat. So there's lots of exciting areas that I won't definitely tell you that we are and aren't doing, but, you know, there's lots of technologies that enable us to do quite exciting things that make viewing television even simpler, because I'm a real believer that broadcast television is here to stay. Viewing has only increased the broadcast TV. IP is just a new technology to me, and it's something which actually enables a richer experience, but I don't think it actually detracts from what in the end is a very simple pleasure of just watching television.
Sure. I mean, that just leaves multi-screen really to address, and I mean, you mentioned the tablet just now, and we know that Sky Go is a very compelling multi-screen service. And do you think that in terms of a free-to-air platform, do you have a value role in multi-screen, or do you just leave that to the free-to-air broadcasters to do online with their catch-up services, make it available with a backwards EPG? Or is there more to it? Do you need to distribute content around the home, for example?
I think it's a very, very interesting area. And I went to Korea in LA over the summer, and I went to visit DirecTV, and I looked at their tablet app. And just at the most simple level, being able to use a tablet or a smartphone as a remote control is just makes common sense in the end, doesn't it? So it's an area I'm very fascinated in. I'm not going to say whether we are or aren't going to do these things, because they're expensive as well. But I do think for platform operators, there's a real role in a companion device, as they're called, because there's just something around trying to make watching television simpler. It's the point I made earlier. And I think in the end, broadcasters can have their apps, but are we going to see a world where you have to go in and out of 20 or 30 broadcaster apps in order to find the programmes you want? Or are you going to rely on a trusted guide, say a platform operator or a publisher, for example, to sort of do that for you? So I think, you know, I'm looking at other markets and I'm looking at what the role might be for things like tablets and smartphones. I'm not sure I know the answer yet, but there's no point doing an app for the sake of an app. It has to have a purpose. So it's something we're looking at.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll leave that as undecided at this point. But anyway, thanks very much for your time, Emma. It was really nice talking to you.
Thank you.